Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, PattSun, and today we're gonna be taking a look at r/relationships, where OP doesn't know what boundaries are. Let's begin. My girlfriend of 2 years is obsessed with her male best friend, and of course, it's always the best friend. Posted by Reddit user Outside Toe.
At first, this post was going to be much longer, but if I were to describe the entire history of the relationship, it would take forever. But if context is needed for any of the things, then I will be happy to provide it. Also, I apologize for my bad English and overall messiness of this post. My girlfriend has a guy best friend who I don't tolerate. I hate him in fact, and I think she is crossing some boundaries with this guy, but I also need to verify how valid my concerns are. So I am writing this post. This guy, let's call him Bob. He is a typical rich kid, 24, lives off his parents' money in a big-ass mansion, never works and just fucks around all day. He has known my girlfriend a little longer than me, about 2.5 years, and from her story he helped her when she lost a loved one in a car accident. In the beginning when I met him I even liked him. He was quite funny although a bit clueless, and I was glad my girlfriend had someone she could rely on and who helped her. Over time, however, I noticed that my girlfriend talked about him a lot. I was constantly seeing pictures of what he was doing, his pets, his hobbies, funny stories related to him, compliments about him, etc. I didn't attach any importance to it. I just thought they liked each other very much and that was it. Sometimes she would text with him while she was talking to me in person. Or when we were lying cuddled alone in bed, she would pull out her phone to talk to him or whatever. Her parents called me by his name a couple of times by accident. My girlfriend talked about him incessantly. Once she even called me Bob herself. Her schoolmates even thought they were together. She didn't mention that I was her boyfriend until they asked themselves, and it had been 3 months since we started being together. All these things made me start to be a bit suspicious, so I asked my girlfriend's close friend if anything had happened between my girlfriend and this Bob. Apparently, nothing ever happened. I also confronted my girlfriend about it and she replied the same thing, that he is like a brother to her. I pushed my concerns aside, but in the back of my head I made a note of it all. For the next couple of months everything was fine, except that she happened to be a bit cuddly with him. She's usually afraid of physical contact. But as he's her friend I don't see anything wrong with that. My girlfriend has a lot of problems with herself, depression, anxiety, etc. I have always helped her a lot with this, as I have been struggling with this myself for a long time and have been in therapy for many years. Every time she was down or had a tantrum or was unfair to me I was understanding. I have never to this day raised my voice at her. I spent dozens of nights cuddling her to sleep when she had panic attacks. I helped her get dressed in the morning and motivated her to go to school, helped her with her lessons and chores. But in the midst of all this I was also firm, urging her to think about therapy, and standing up to her when she started to be abusive and not letting her push me around. It was starting to take a toll on our relationship. I knew that as much as she needed support and comfort, she also needed someone to show her that it was okay to make mistakes, but it was also important to learn from them. She didn't like this at all. She often preferred to lie in bed full of sadness and feel sorry for herself. At the same time, behind my back, she complained to Bob about me that I didn't understand her. As I found out later, Bob repeatedly suggested to her that it was my fault, that therapy was pointless and instigated her. She also began to distance herself from me emotionally, preferring to talk about her problems to Bob, who was only an echo chamber and further aggravated as in all this. When it got to the point where she confessed to me that she was having suicidal thoughts, and Bob has known about it for a week and I'm only just finding out, I broke down. Just thinking of her hurting herself or losing her was terrifying for me. I was sad that the girlfriend that I love so much would rather go to him instead of me for help, when I already have gave her so much. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying my damn hardest. We talked about it and set clear boundaries so that she would communicate such things with me first and foremost. I began to dislike Bob. Very much so. Sometime later, Bob organized a party to which he invited my girlfriend and a certain guy who was into my girlfriend. Bob knew about it but told her it wasn't true, while I had been warning my girlfriend about him for some time. I was on a business trip at the time. At this party, this guy at one point threw my girlfriend on the bed, laid on top of her and started choking her. My girlfriend screamed for him to come down and asked for help and Bob stood by and did nothing. Fortunately, the other girls helped her and the situation did not get out of hand. When I found out about it I wanted to tear the guy apart, and right after that Bob for not doing anything to help my girlfriend. My girlfriend, on the other hand, didn't see that Bob did anything wrong and even defended him. I got fed up at this point and started actively avoiding Bob. I couldn't forbid my girlfriend from continuing to be friends with him, but I made it clear to her that I didn't think he was a good guy and that she should watch out for him. We are currently planning to move to another city and start living together, but as my girlfriend is still studying, To raise money for our move, I had to go abroad for work for roughly 2 months, worse conditions but much better pay. I am afraid for her. When there is no one next to her to motivate her to take care of herself, I am afraid I will lose her. Every day now she sees Bob. I get pictures and messages from her how they spend time together. They do the same things I did with her. I feel like I'm losing her and being replaced. A couple of times a week she goes to his place to drink and smoke. She talks about how good she feels. She sends me pictures of them being close and I just want to vomit. I'm over here working 14 hours a day to provide for our future and I can't even go 5 minutes without her talking about him or sending me pictures of them. My work situation is hard for her also, but I go out of my way to comfort her and call her as much as I can, but I get almost no comforting back. I've had enough. A guy who repeatedly gets in between us and contributes nothing truly positive to her life gets to be her mini boyfriend, free of charge. I worked hard for this relationship. We both have and I don't want this to fail. I try to make her happy. I'm understanding. I help her and am there for her whenever she needs me. I've never yelled at her. I've never said a bad word. And I'm treated almost equally or in some regards even worse than this guy that barely does anything. I feel unappreciated. Everyone knows about Bob and his exploits. Everything he does, she brags about it to everyone. But no one has heard from her about my stuff. She barely talks about things that I do. Not a single one of her friends has seen one of my paintings that I did for her. But you can be damn sure everyone's seen Bob's dog. She doesn't brag about my stuff to Bob. Instead, I have to know everything about him. Bob can sit and stare at the wall and I have to stand on my head doing backflips to get the same level of engagement from my girlfriend. She is obsessed with him. She doesn't see any flaw in him. I know the typical Reddit response is just talk to her bro. But as I'm overseas now, as soon as I'll tell her my concerns, she will shut down and go to the closest shoulder to cry on, which would be Bob, telling her it's my fault and that I'm a jerk. I trust that my girlfriend loves me. I am 100% sure of that. I'm also rather sure she's not cheating on me with Bob, at least physically. But when alcohol and weed is involved, I'm afraid he might take advantage of her or she might do something which will damage our relationship forever, aka cheat. I want us to be happy. I don't want to hurt her in any way. I want her to be happy, but I don't want to continue on being hurt myself. I don't know how to continue from this. I need advice on how to handle this guy. TLDR, girlfriend is obsessed with a male best friend, sees no flaw in him and I feel unappreciated.
OP, you damn donut, you dummy.
You little you son of a I'm going to tear off your and shove them right up your and then on your with in the and your so then you'll have to sideways.
Let's make one thing very clear. Bob is the boyfriend, not you. You're the best friend. You're the poor sucker that pays the bills and gives emotional support while other men are plowing your woman. Who the hell do you think you are, OP? Will Smith?
Damn!
You're focusing on the wrong person. Focus on you. Not him, not her. You. You're the damn problem. You keep tolerating her bullshit. Obviously, you're not the most important person in her life. Her mind is always on him. Every goddamn thought she has seems to be about him. You don't understand the reality of being second to someone else in her heart. You don't understand that if standing by while another guy was violent with her wasn't enough to get her head on straight, nothing else will, my dude. Certainly not you. You are working your ass off for both of your futures, and what does she do in return? She's openly meeting up with other dudes. And you're okay with it. You tolerate it. Everything that happens, every single pain, every single heartbreak that you are experiencing, it's your own damn fault. You are slaving away for her mentally, physically, and emotionally just for her to go and shit-talk you to some dude who pumps and dumps her on the regular. If you sincerely believe that she loves you, then you're more delusional than the average feminist. You need to wake up and see things for what they truly are. You need to grow a spine, and fast. Good luck, Simp Lord. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my channels for you to watch absolutely free. So please consider subscribing to me on Rumble and on YouTube. Both will be linked in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, consider subscribing to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.